what is it that, from a staffing industry perspective, the contributions can come in to ensure that the roadmap to formal employment through the staffing industry can be created?
Sure, thanks, Suchita. I think the future that I dream of or look for 10 years out is we shouldn't have on the same dais an industry leader sitting and saying that they're not getting quality skills. And we should not have representatives of international bodies and government saying, but there are millions of people who aren't really being looked after. That dynamic is the probably biggest paradigm issue in India. It's not that we don't have the people. And Mr. Satoshi very aptly brought e-shram into it. Last week when we were meeting the secretary, he very proudly said, now there are 30 crore, 300 million e-shramiks on the portal. And we've also given them UAN numbers. Mr. Raji would love it if people sitting in this room could download that data, assess that data for prior skills, look at the gaps where the gaps exist, do a higher trained deployment kind of a model, which already exists within our industry. If you talk to players in the room which do IT and ITES, it's a very evolved science, and the IT industry does need skills changing every few years. And the large staffing companies and every staffing company is pivoting into that business, where you hire a talent which comes with shortage of everything that is required, upskill, near skill, whatever you want to call it, and then deploy the resource. Why the same can't be done for manufacturing? Why the same can't be done for retail? Why the same can't be done for e-commerce? Why the same can't be done for even the government's own mandates? I think one big issue is right there. But I would also like to add another point there. It all, in the end, boils down to economics. The IT industry has done it because the IT industry provides for economics to invest in higher trained deployment. The non-IT industry is hesitating from making that investment. But another point, what we would look at 10 years out, all of us travel to economies like UAE. We go to Dubai quite frequently. We go to Singapore quite frequently. We are very proud of the work that the Indian labor has done there. The Indian manufacturing worker has done there. Once in my trip, I went to the labor camp. I said, no, I want to see this labor camp. You'd be amazed. These are very proper, proficiently run dormitories, 4 to a room, with an air condition there, with an air-conditioned bus to ferry the people from the factory to the place of work, with what we call in India as Anganwadi or any kind of a self-help support group functioning there for the women if they are not working in the factory. 2 meals are being given there. Net, I asked the person, isn't this costing you more? As a customer, I asked that question. Isn't this costing you more? He says, Lohit, what is labor turnover in your country? I said, we lose 15% of the people every month. That's minimum in most of the manufacturing outlets. And he says, do you know one of the reasons for that is because they're looking for that $2 or $10 extra. Or they have a healthcare crisis, or they have a logistics crisis, and nobody's trying to solve that. So he says, yes, we pay 10% more to manage all of this and get this done. But our labor turnover is less than 1% a month. We get 99% of the people every day coming to the assembly line. And when the same person comes every day to the assembly line, I don't need to tell everybody in this room what changes for large employers. What productivity indexes can zoom for large employers. Can a large employer then give an extra buck to that agency which is doing that entire environment? Can a higher trained deployment model can come in? So it is brilliant that Maruti has done that. I'm sure ISF and ISF members would also want to do that. But I think equally the industry should also give one hand forward and say, I will underwrite a contract for you for 5 years, invest in this, get me ready talent, get me the skill gaps which are needed, and deploy with me. I think that change, if it can come in the next 10 years, we will not have to listen to this problem that India has a very large workforce, but when it is required at places of work, the same workforce is not adequate.